Hi, it's Frank Lillo from Long Island Pickleball Pros, and this is our Long Island Pickleball podcast coming to you right now. Now, if you enjoyed the last podcast, what I'd like you to do is subscribe, share it with your friends, and let them all know that we're all part of this community and we're doing this podcast for them. And if there's a topic you'd like us to discuss in the future, please let us know. We'd be more than happy to provide all of that to you and give you all that information. Thank you very much for listening to us. And what's really important is that you subscribe, like it, and work with us. Now, the one thing about the coming up season, everybody's playing outside, and it brings up a whole different set of challenges: wind, sun, and even court etiquette. In today's episode, we'll give you the tips of the week and talk about what it's like to play outdoors and the proper way to play outdoors, because it's different for all different clubs, all different courts, all different public courts. And again, welcome to our Long Island Pickleball broadcast. My name is Frank Lillo from Long Island Pickleball Pros.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sue Cormier, and this podcast is all about what's going on pickleball on Long Island. We're going to talk about tips to improve your game. We're going to hear about stories that are going on the courts and community updates also. And I think this is a great topic, talking about the pros of playing outdoor and the cons of playing outdoor and the pros and cons of indoor and outdoor play.
And you do have to be prepared to play outdoors, correct, Sue? I mean, there are different ways
Absolutely.
that you have to prepare. And the one thing you could do is watch our podcast. And the way you can watch it is on the YouTube, www.youtube.com. And it's Frank Melillo 5421, or just Google Frank Melillo on the YouTube podcast. Okay. Let's start about our first segment, Sue. What do you want to talk about on our first segment?
Oh, Frank, I want to talk about everything about getting on those outdoor courts. I know I am done with all of this snow. The weather has been beautiful. So I would love to start to explain to especially our beginners that might be a little bit intimidated to walk up to the public courts and put their paddle up on the rack system, which you can talk about that. It can be a little intimidating, but it can also be really welcoming and meeting new people and getting a great sense of community being on our local courts.
Right. And that's where you meet a lot of people. Now, there are some people that say to me, I don't play indoors. I only want to play outdoors. But I have to tell you, though, Sue, and you and I both agree, there's always something about playing indoor that you're not really subject to all the different conditions about playing outdoors. Before we start talking about playing outdoors, we want to really address to our beginners the tip of the week for the beginners on how to play pickleball.
I think one of the biggest tips that beginners need to know is to get their dinking game started. Coming up to the net, playing their soft game, control, patience up at the net. That's my tip of the week for beginners.
And that's
Patience.
a great point. Yes,
Control.
patience. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Now, what's really important about the patience part is trying to understand how the dinks work and why it's important. It slows the game down, right, Sue?
Absolutely.
Makes them make mistakes, but it's also helpful when you play against the better players on trying to win the point by having them make the mistake with the dinks. But it's really important to learn the slow game.
When you try to play that fast game and win the point too quickly, that leads to unnecessary errors, Frank. A lot of unnecessary errors.
And I'm always faulted for the patience part. I always try and speed it up. I always try and drive the ball. So that's one of my things I'm working on right now, trying to learn to be patient with the slow game and the dinking game. Okay, that's really important for the about playing pickleball with the beginners, is the patience and dinking. Now, what was everybody talking about right now in terms of playing pickleball, Sue?
Everybody's talking about let's get outside and play.
And the weather's been fantastic for that, right? So let's give them a few tips on what you have to do to learn how to play outside, because it's different. Beginners have no idea, if they've been playing indoor, have no idea how to play outdoor. And it's intimidating.
Yeah.
Going up to a court with about, I don't know, 12, 18, 22 people, and you're like, well, where do I go? What do I do? How do I act?
As a matter of fact, one of my players came up to me today. I was doing a clinic at Topspin, and she's like, "Oh my God!" I had her play all winter long inside with me. She came up to me and said, "Sue, I can't believe it. I went and played outside last night." And big update in my community in Deer Park, Oswego Park, just got lights. Another
Wow,
park
that's
with
huge.
lights. So
That's
she
really
went up
big.
there and she said, "Sue, we need a clinic just on how to deal with the wind." I said, the wind is like a fifth player in the game. You can use it to your advantage and you can use it against your opponent.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's an important part. The outdoor elements is important on how you use them as a another person on the court.
Yeah.
Um, so Sue, I went outside today and played, and I'll tell you the biggest thing that I didn't have is I didn't have a hat. Now, when you play outdoors, if the wind or the sun is a big factor, you switch at six.
That's
So
fair.
I was playing with the wind over my shoulder and the and sun over my shoulder, but we switched at six. One major thing I didn't have, and that was a hat. So explain to the people here what are the most important things to bring to the court when you're playing outdoors.
When I'm playing outdoors, I never go up to the court without a hat, without sunglasses. That glare of that sun can be
Oh,
nasty. You get a
terrible.
lob up in the air, you're going for it, and that sun, that ball and the sun can just become one. And plus, sunglasses also act as some protective eyewear too. So it's always a good idea to wear sunglasses. And don't forget your water. It's so important, especially on a hot day that's coming up. I can't wait. Stay hydrated.
And even if it's not a hot day, you'd be surprised how much perspiration you lose while you're playing outdoors, even though it's really cold. You know, when you go skiing, you still have to hydrate because you don't
That is
realize
true.
how much you're losing from your body. So you have to stay hydrated. And that's really important. Now, when beginners come up to the court, Stu, I've seen them come up indoor and outdoor, and they seem very, very intimidated. And
They're
that's
like a
the
deer in a
number
headlight. They're
right.
like a deer in a headlight.
And
Yeah.
you can see them. You can see them because they're pacing back and forth. They don't know exactly what to do. So I know what I've done. I've done this in Peconic by asking them, "Hey, are you new here? Let me show you around. Let me let you know about some of the things that you do here in order to get into the game." And we just had that conversation, Sue. So what do you do to get beginners to feel comfortable getting into a game?
That is one of my most favorite things about pickleball is welcoming a beginner into the game, making them feel comfortable, making them feel right at home up at the public courts or even at an indoor court. One of the things I suggest to a beginner is find a court that has your level of play. You don't want to get frustrated, and it's very frustrating. It can even discouraging for a beginner to be lost in a game that the players are so much better. Find people, and you don't want to play with people that are lower than you because then it's just boring and it's not it becomes not even fun anymore. So find a level that you can play at.
Right. Make sure you take a look at the courts and say, what's my level that I could play at? Where's the beginners play? Where do the intermediates play? And where do the more advanced players play? And pick a court or group that's at your level. Now, different courts have different ways in which they participate in playing in the games. So
Mhm.
some of the courts have 2 on, 2 off, winner split. Other courts have it where 4 on, 4 on, 4 off after the game. So it's all different ways in which you play. Um, so Sue, which of the ways that you prefer? Which are the ones that you've seen?
I like four on and four off. This way you can stay with a group that are your level. You can help a beginner to find three other people and paddle up with them.
Yep.
If I find sometimes I find if it's getting boring, like the same four people, and I want to play with other people, then you might want to switch it up. 2 on, 2 off, winners split, and after 2 games, even if you won 2 games, come on off. That the advantage of that is it does mix up the competition a little bit.
Right. So now, when you're in the heat of the game and you're playing, though, um, one important part of the game is making line calls, and it's important
Oh,
that you make the right line call because of the
yes, it
wind,
is.
because of the sun. So you have to make sure you're on top of making the correct line calls. Okay. Now, what's the one thing about making line calls?
If you can't tell if it's in or out, it's in. That's the
Correct.
fair way to do it. If you're not sure, you got to be gracious and give it to your opponents.
That's the right way to do it. And that's also true in tennis. The other most important thing is the line calls are always made on your side.
That's
You're
right.
the only one, or your partner is the only one who can make the line calls. And one important part of the USA Pickleball Association, the rules that they put in today, this week, or this month, or this year, no one outside your court is allowed to make a line call. They are not allowed.
Zip it. Zip it.
Yep, it's forbidden for them to make a line call. So to be
Yep.
consistent on your court, beginners, advanced beginners, intermediates, make sure you make the right line calls. Ask your partner if he or she see the call, see the line. All right.
Right.
You only make the line calls on your side and do not ask for help. That's the
Right.
one thing.
And it's important for every player to understand the ball looks different from each person's angle, from each person's perspective. That ball looks different. If I'm looking at it from the left and it's different from a person looking at it on the right to left. It's different. So the person that's closest should be making the call because their perspective is going to be the most accurate.
Exactly. No, someone from behind the ball can't make that call. And I
Right.
certainly, from my side of the court, make a line call on the baseline. I can't do
Right.
that.
People try it all the time, but
I'll
yeah,
tell
it
you
doesn't
one
work.
thing that I do that really kind of gets a lot of people pissed off is if one person calls it out, I always ask the other person, so what did you see? And
Right.
sometimes they'll say, I saw it as in, Frank. Okay, but I always ask the other person if I think there's some miscommunication on that line.
Right.
I always ask
Right.
the other person. Now,
Yeah.
if you played USTA rules, the other person will agree with their partner. No, I saw it out too. But sometimes they're going to be honest and say, no, I have to tell you, I thought it was in too, Frank. And
Right.
that's where you lose the point when that happens.
And I'd also like to add about the line calls. Can we just remember it's pickleball. It's a fun game. We're there to have fun. We're not there to win $1 million or even a gold medal. Unfortunately, we're
I
there
would
to
say,
have fun.
I would
And
say
it's like the circle of life. You make a bad call accidentally on me. A week from Tuesday, I might make a bad call on someone else. It all is fair in the end.
I couldn't agree more. And I did play a number of pretty edgy games this week. And it's not letting me lose my patience, but I have been the talk of some of the games that we played this week that was a little edgy and a little on edge and kind of confrontational. That's not my style. That's not my DNA. But sometimes, sometimes you
Right.
aren't quite as friendly as you want to be. And it's usually pointed out to you.
Right. Right.
So now, when it comes to beginners and all that, so we're about ready to wrap this up. What do you tell the beginners when they're on the court and you're giving them instructions? What's the one thing that you want to tell them? That you also do lessons, right?
Oh, yeah. I do a lot of lessons, a lot of clinics. I love my beginners, getting them into the game, teaching them good habits from the start. That's one thing I do ask of my players. Start with good habits. A muscle memory is formed really quickly in this game. One example, serve and stay. Don't get into that habit of serving and taking a step up. Beginners, the return usually comes short because we're beginners. But as you get better and better, that ball is going to be returned deeper and deeper. It's the double bounce rule. You have to let it bounce. If you serve and take a step up, you're going to wind up backpedaling, or the ball is going to bounce at your feet, or just out of instinct, you're going to hit that ball before you let it bounce. So serve and stay. That muscle memory is formed really quickly.
Now, Sue, if I wanted to reach out to you to get these tips personally, how can they reach out to you for your coaching? Where do you teach, Sue?
Oh, you blanked out a little bit there. Okay, I got you. So I teach at Topspin. I teach at Topspin Pickleball in Hauppauge on Oser Avenue, and that's a great way to find my clinics. They, like most facilities for beginners, use the Court Reserve app. It's wonderful. It gives a lot of information. You can book a court at your level, and it's a great tool to have.
And
so
you also
Topspin
teach on public courts, correct? So how do they reach you on the public courts?
On public courts, you can find me on my Facebook page. Sue Cormier on Facebook. Yeah.
Good. Okay. And as you know, I've been teaching now for a number of years, and you can find me on Long Island Pickleball Pros. I do clinics. I teach private lessons. I also teach learn and play, where you play for an hour and then you play I teach you for an hour and then you play with your friends for another hour, and I do on-court coaching. I do all different types of drills as well. I do the drills. Come to my court. I can drill with you for over an hour, hour and 15 minutes, and you'd be surprised at the pricing that we provide, much less than what you get from an indoor facility. So I think we're going to wrap it up with the one big tip of the week for playing outdoors. What would that be, Sue?
Bring your necessary equipment, mind the wind, and court etiquette. Court etiquette. Just find your place to play, help out a beginner, call the score. Make sure you call the score every time.
Every time,
Just
call the score
court
on your
etiquette
side.
and have fun.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Bring a hat, like I didn't bring one today.
Right.
Now,
Yeah. And I just want to add to all the beginners out there, people that have played 8 or 10 times, give yourself a lesson. Contact myself, contact Frank. You think you know the game, but then you take a lesson or two and you realize the importance of all the tips that we're talking about. I like to explain why we ask you to do all of the things. Come up to the line, serve and stay, all these things. We can teach you why. And
right.
It really helps to better your game.
Drills
Take the lesson.
really
Drills.
spirits ones. You
Yeah.
want drills.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap it up. And good thing about the tips, Sue, we'll be bringing you tips. We'll be bringing you community updates. We'll be bringing you everything that's happening on Long Island. And what we also want to do as a surprise, we might even bring in, Sue?
Don't even say a surprise guest here and there, maybe. Woohoo!
Yep. Surprise guest. So bring us your tips, bring us your comments, bring us any suggestions, and make sure you follow us on YouTube, Frank Melillo 5421, or just Google Frank Melillo for your Long Island Pickleball podcast information. Thanks, Saul. Great talking to you.
Great podcast. See everyone next week.
See you on the next one. Take care, guys.
Be on the courts, hopefully.
See you on
Bye.